My name is Lilian Peter, and this is Stunning Crown Wonders. This is a program I want to run. It's out there to inspire somebody, to inspire you, because there is always the ordained purpose for each and every one of us. So it's up to there to cultivate and to nurture and to know that the God-given abilities in you, and more so as a lady, the God-given power within a lady. And it's gonna be an awesome show because we're gonna have so many interactive sessions with different people in different aspects and fields in life. We're gonna deal with musicians, fashion and designers. We're gonna deal with career women, business women, all aspects of life. And it's gonna be an awesome because you are out there, you're a young lady, you aspire or want to become somebody, and I believe it is possible. All things are possible to them that believe. Yeah, so without dilly-dallying, we get into today's topic, and more so is to understanding the purpose, like understanding the mind of God for you. It trickles down to me when in the book of Jeremiah in chapter 1 verse 5, and God told Jeremiah that before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And before you saw the light of the day, I had holy plans for you. And he says his intention was a prophet to the nations, because that was what I have in mind for you. So there is always something God has in mind for each and every one of us, because to Jeremiah it was revealed that before God formed him in his mother's womb, he had known him. And I believe we are in times where we have a lot of ideology frustrations, we have a lot of we are lost in the quagmire of life, we are lost in unrest, we are lost in the daily depressions, running up and down into things we don't like, or rather we tend to measure our abilities and our potentials with people out there, or we really want to emulate the success of another person with your own, which is not the case, because we see that God telling Jeremiah that I had a plan for you. I want to assure you there is a plan for you, in spite of all the economic fluctuations, the change in the technologies, the advancement we have in life. There is always that aspect, there is always that God designed plan for you as a person. And narrowing it down before we get much deeper, we really need to understand that what is really this purpose? What do you have in mind? For a specific reason, like before a manufacturer, for example, has to deal with a glass, he has in mind that what the intended purpose of that glass. He knows, like it's basically the reason as to why. It answers the question why am I doing this, So the same case, it applies to God, that he had a specific design or a reason or a purpose as to why he created you. Nobody comes by accident, we all know that. And so God has a purpose for each and every one of us, and there is the need or the urge for each and every individual to understand what is exactly the purpose that God, why am I here? Like, why am I on earth? Why do I wake up every day? Why should I get engaged into what I'm getting engaged to? Why should I do that course? If you're a student, why should I do a certain course that you are to do? Is it something that is within me, or is it something that is intricated by an outside pressure or something that is pushing you into doing something, And because those are some of the reasons. If we don't ask ourselves such questions, we get ourselves into things, or we get ourselves into into activities that really doesn't bring a fulfillment in your life, you feel like I'm in this marriage, but anyway, it's not really what I wanted to do. There is not that fulfillment. I'm into this business, but it's not bringing fulfillment. I'm into this job, and it's not really bringing an inner fulfillment into my life. And that's why I want us to take you back to some of the inside personal question that you ought to ask yourself, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Like, what is my assignment? Why should I do what I'm doing? Like, is it bringing a satisfaction, or am I just lost in the activities of the day and the runnings of things that ought to be run as it ought to be? So it's a question that as I'm drawing out to you, I believe also I'm getting also a deeper understanding and meaning into all this, because we can get lost into the busy activities of the living, into wanting to experience life literal by much of speed. You can be running in the wrong direction, but doesn't mean you're really getting to your destination. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the main thing, or the most important thing, is I need to get to my destination. Because life is a journey that we always need to get onto a destiny. That's why we always say, I have a destiny. You have a destiny, and that is always the inward inspiration, or a personality, a uniqueness, and a potential that God created each and every one of us with, because He had an intended purpose. He had an intended identity. Like, there is a personal identity. There is something that makes me. There is something that makes you. There is something that makes each and every one of us. So I don't have to have a competitive life. I don't need to be like my friend, like you say, like, my friend does this and this. So you don't measure your success with somebody else's success, because they are running a different race altogether from yours. They are walking a different journey from yours. They're doing it different, and there is something unique in you that you ought to identify. And I would like to narrow it down to that the identity and the discovery can only be found in God. Yeah, and I'll take you to Psalms 139 and verse 13 to 16. If you allow me, we shall read, because we really need to understand the intended purpose of God into our lives. We really need to get close to God. Most of the times is where we don't want to learn a meaningless life. We don't want to feel that emptiness. So we really want to understand that there is a purpose that we only can discover in God. And that purpose to discover in God is where it takes us to get to know God. Get us to know actually the mind of God for you. The time you reason with your mind, like, okay, why am I doing this and such stuff? So there is also a reason as to why God had created you. There is a purpose as to why you reason in a certain way. There is a purpose as to why you do things in a certain way. There is a reason as to how you have different giftings. We have different abilities. We have different talents within each and every one of us. So, and God says in the book of Psalms 139 verse 13 that verse 13 says, you formed my innermost being. God formed my innermost being, shaping my delicate inside. And he made my intricate outside. And then he wove them all together in my mother's womb. You see, I thank God for making me so mysteriously complex. Like, it's not easy to understand you. The same way it's not easy to understand a baby growing in the womb of a pregnant woman. You can't understand, you can't even explain. But there is a purpose as to why God had designed a certain person the way he did it. And so he said, so I thank God, because we are all mysteriously complex. We are very, very, very uniquely designed of God. The message Bible says, put it like this: you shape me first, inside then out. So inside of you, and God was shaping you, there is all that, those interests, those abilities, those potentials that he was making inside of you before he made the outside. So he formed me in my mother's womb. So I thank God, because he's breathtaking, body and soul he marvelously made. And so I worship in adoration that what a creation. It's always a marvelous wonder to each and every creation, that God knows me inside and out. He knows you inside and out. He knows every bone in my body. Wow, this is amazing. That God knows every bone in my body. He knows every bone, every bone. Yeah, you know exactly how I was made bit by bit. How I was sculpted from nothing into something. So akulanga kitu kama you're useless, you know. Everyone has something in them, because God made every one of us from nothing into something. That's why we are what we are. And the most amazing thing is like an open book. You watched me grow from conception to birth. All the stages of my life were spread out before you. The days of my life all prepared before I would even lived one day. Wow. So this really trickles us down to understanding that God had an intended purpose. If he could shape you first, and then he had a plan for each and every day for you. You know, I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. His thoughts towards us are awesomely numerous as the sand of the sea. So he says, all the stages of my life since I was a little kid, you know, even before now, in conception, information, into birth, into being a day one baby. God had every stage of my life, every stage of your life. God, and he had it all written down, even before you lived even a day. So our discovery of our purposes can only be in God, because that's where we find fulfillment in life. That's where we find satisfaction. That's where we find joy. That's where we find rest. Yeah, because I'd quote one of the great men that is Miles Monroe. He says that the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without a reason. Yeah, it's dangerous to live and not know why you are given life. You know, it's quite dangerous, but you're living and you don't know why. It's a gift that God has given you, that life, and you can only discover your purpose in God, because he only knows the reason as to why I formed you. He only knows the reason as to why he only knows the reason. He only knows the job and the assignment that you are to fulfill on earth. And every time you do the assignment, every time you do what God created you to do, you always find that inner fulfillment, inner satisfaction. Yeah, that brings the joy of life. And so for today, we're gonna have our session cash up there. We're gonna continue with more of this program. We want to really understand, so how to what extent do I know the purposes of God? To what extent do I get to know God for me to understand and discover my purpose? And to what extent should I have that communion? And what about those people who have not yet discovered? What can you do to understand that purpose? What is it that I can do as a person, as an individual, that makes me me and not makes me you? So success. Thank you.